Hello and welcome to day 9 of my LEDA challenge. Hi, Ken Robinson. Good to have your company. And we're talking about the subject of awesome. Several years ago, I was speaking at a national conference and I shared a story with the audience, and I'd like to share that story with you. And as I share this story, I would like to get you to start thinking about what I'm saying, because at the end of this story, I'm going to ask you a question, and I would love to know your thoughts as to how you would respond. There was this young guy who went to school and he was picked on. He was bullied every day through primary school, high school. His English teacher said to him in the last year of primary school, "Look, you really don't stand a chance. If I was you, I would just go through the basic level of high school and I would try and get a job. Your English is appalling. You're really not cut out for it." By the time he got through high school and all those years of bullying, and it came time for the end of year formal, not one girl was willing to ask him out. He left high school, and by the time he was 23 years of age, he had been sacked, he'd been fired 7 times. And then I asked the audience at that particular conference, how would you describe this person? If you were to look at their life story, the fact that they'd been bullied all the way through primary school, high school, they'd been told by their English teacher that they had no hope of succeeding, and basically they should just go out and get a job as a bus driver, and they'd be lucky if they could even get that. If you'd heard that this person at the end of year formal, the end of high school, not one girl had shown interest, and basically he didn't attend. And then he went on until the age of 23, he'd been sacked several times. I mean, what would you say about this person? Do you think that they would have any future? Well, as I was sharing this story and I asked that question of the audience, one member way up the back of the audience said, "He should commit suicide." And then there was a silence. Because at that point, I revealed who that boy was. You see, in life, there are 2 sides to a coin. One side is the negative, the other is the positive. That story was my story. There wasn't a day in my schooling that I was not bullied. I was hopeless at English. Yes, and at the end of year formal, I did not attend because I was too embarrassed to go by myself. Not one girl asked me. And by the time I was 23, I'd been sacked several times. But you see, there are 2 sides to the story. I went on and I learnt the art of copywriting, which is English. I now get paid anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 to write a piece of copy. By the time I'd turned 30, I was the owner of my own magazine business. By the time I was 26, I'd actually convinced one of Australia's biggest media companies to give me enough money, 100% of all the money I needed, to establish my own magazine business, with print runs of 700,000 copies. Up until COVID, my weeks were spent training people. People would pay $700 to come and spend a day with me. And on average, my workshops would be anywhere from 10 to 30 people. Now, why am I sharing this story with you? Well, you see, there are 2 sides to a coin. And the LEDA challenge is about connecting with people. In my sales motivational workshops, I share that story of my failure first, and then I share how I overcame that failure to eventually achieve success. But what is inspiring about that story is not the success I had, it's the fact that I was able to go through that failure. I was able to dismiss what my English teacher said, and I just kept on striving. I kept on going. And I believe what is awesome in communication, especially in this live streaming environment, is the ability for us to drop the veil of superiority and share our weaknesses, share our faults, share how we went from failure and through sheer determination and hard work and luck, we arrived at the door of success. And so I believe it is far more awesome to have the guts to stand up and say, hey, I'm just like you. I have my faults. I have my fears. I have my doubts. I mean, when I started the LEDA Challenge, I had bought all the equipment to do live streaming at least a year prior to this event. I had used every excuse in the book not to sit in front of this camera and take up this challenge. And it was only the fact that on day one, my wife decided to join me in the challenge and that she stepped in front of the mobile phone sitting in her car that made me think, well, if my wife can do it, I can do it. You see, when you share with people that you've made a mistake, but you've learned from it and you've gone somewhere to success, it gives other people hope. It is far more powerful to share your failure than your success. Because by sharing your failures and how you learnt from them, you inspire other people to have a go. And going back to my why, which I spoke about yesterday, my why is to help people be the success they deserve to be. I could have easily in my childhood listened to that English teacher who said I was hopeless. I could have easily listened to all those kids who bullied me every day of primary school, high school, and so forth. I could have said to myself when the school formal was on, well, not one girl, even the ugliest girl in school is interested in you. You will never, ever have a partner. And I could have walked out into life with the thinking that why bother? Nobody would be interested in me. But you've seen my wife in this challenge. And I am married to a dynamic woman, a loving mother. And the reason I'm married to her is I was willing to step out and face rejection. And I believe when it comes to the live streaming platform, the more real we can be with people, the more that we can reveal our vulnerabilities, the more that we can speak to the camera and be truthful, the more that we will connect with people. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my story. I'm looking forward to your stories. How is the LEDA Challenge going for you? Yeah, it is a challenge. But you know what? There has not been one video in this challenge that I've watched where I haven't seen improvement in people. Because people are standing up and they're going, okay, I might be fearful, but I'm going to give this a go. And I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story. And I look forward to catching up tomorrow. Until then, bye for now.